So this is the Chapter 2 review that was due on Tuesday. I'm going to go ahead and go over all the answers. So, number 1, is this relation a function? Well, let's look at the x values. Our domain is, give us enough space here. Our domain is 2, 1, -1, and 2 again. So that 2 repeated there. So that tells us that no, it's not a function. And then the range would be 3, 2, and 1. So make sure if it is a function, then the x's are matching with exactly one y. This 2 matches to a 3, and then the 2 goes into the function and matches with a 1, and that can't happen for a function. All right, number 2, find f of -2. So we're going to take -2 and plug it into this function. Now I'm taking -2 and I'm squaring it, and when I square a negative, it comes out positive. So I'm adding 4 plus 1, and the answer would be 5. And so for that function, the point would be -2, 5. Number 3, suppose y varies directly with x, and we're going to set up a proportion here. So -10 is to 25, so y over x equals 240 over x. So make sure the y's are up top, the x's are on the bottom. You cross multiply, and you get -10x equals 6,000. So x is -600. All right, so for number 4, we have this equation in standard form. So those are all the forms you need to remember. And then here's some important information about slope. So make sure you memorize that too. Rewrite the equation in slope-intercept form, show work. So the first thing I'm going to do is I need to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 3x to the other side. So I'm left with -2y equals -3x plus 18. Then we're going to divide everything by -2. So my equation would be 3/2 x minus 9. And once you have it in that form, you can answer these questions. So 4b, what is the y-intercept? The y-intercept would be -9. It's right here. And then what is the slope of the line? The slope of the line would be 3/2. It's the number in front of x. All right, so numbers 5 through 9, we're going to write the equation in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. The first one's great. It gives us exactly what we need. We have the slope, -2 times x, and then plus 15. And that's all you have to do for that one. Number 6, a little bit tougher, but we can still do it. So the slope is 3 here, and the lines are parallel, so they're going to have the same slope. So we're going to have a slope of 3, and it goes through this point. And a lot of times students will think that, oh, they see a y, oh, it's 1, and that's the y-intercept, but that is not the y-intercept. The y-intercept only happens when x is 0, and x is 2 there. So we're going to actually put this into point-slope form. So here's a point, here's our slope. So we'll go y minus 1, which is the y value in our point, and then slope, which is 3 times x minus 2. And go ahead and distribute the 3, so that we get 3x minus 6, and then add 1 over to the other side. So y equals 3x minus 5, and that would be our equation. So even though it's asking for slope-intercept form, sometimes you don't start with that because that's not the information that was given to you. So let's look at 7. 7's the same type of problem. You're given a point and you're given a slope. So you can pause the video and try it on your paper, or I'm just going to go ahead and do it right now. So y minus 3 equals -5, x minus -2, which would be plus 2. Go ahead and distribute the -5. So I have y minus 3 equals -5x minus 10. And then add 3 to the other side to give us y equals -5x minus 7. Excuse me. Okay. Number 8, this time we're given 2 points, and it's a lot like the last 2 problems that we did, but in this case we need to first find the slope. And you can find the slope by doing -7 minus -1 over -3 minus 6. And so up top we get -6, and on the bottom we get -9, and that reduces to 2/3. So let's choose a point. I'm just going to pick the first one, and we're going to put this into point slope form. So y plus 1 equals the slope, which is 2/3, x minus 6. And we still need to get this into slope-intercept form. So let's distribute the 2/3. So I have y plus 1 equals 2/3 x, and 2/3 times negative 6 is negative 4, and then subtract 1 to the other side. There it is. Okay, number 9 is probably the most difficult out of these because it's a word problem, but it tells you everything that you need to know. So it says a company, it costs $65 to make 100 toys, $95 to make 220 toys. Write an equation, show the cost y of making x toys. So we have x, which are the toys, and y is the cost. If I have 100 toys, it's going to cost $65. And if I make 220 toys, it's going to cost $95. So don't get those switched around. They tell you which one's the dependent, which one's the independent variable. So that would give you 2 points. You have the point 100, 65, and 220, 95. So we're going to go ahead and find the slope first. Slope would be to take the y, the difference in the y's, over the difference in the x's, and you end up with 1/4 here after you do the math. Okay, then take a point. I'm going to take this point, and here's my slope, and I'm going to put this into slope-intercept form. Well, point slope form first, sorry. So I get y minus 65 equals 1/4 x minus 100. And then distribute the 1/4. So I have 1/4 x, and 1/4 of 100 is 25. And then add 65 to the other side. So I get y equals 1/4 x plus 40. That would be the equation. And now part B says, how much would it cost to make 540 toys? So you're going to take x equals 540. You're going to plug that in and find out what y is. So when you plug in 540, you get 1/4 times 540 plus 40. And then you work that out, and you get that to make 540 toys, it's going to cost you $175. All right, so that's the first page. Let's go on to the next one. So the next one is going to be graphing, and you will have a no calculator section of this test. So let's look at the graphs. So the first one, we're going to graph using our intercept method. So to find the x-intercept, you want to cover up the y, and you get, or just let y equal 0. You get 2x equals negative 18, which is negative 9. And then to get the y-intercept, let x equal 0, and you get 3y is negative 18, so y would be negative 6. Now, x is negative 9, that's way over here somewhere, a little bit off, sorry. And then negative 6 is down here for the y, and you draw, your line. Now to find the slope, you can count on your graph here, okay? So you would go down 6 and run 9. You could also solve for y here and find out what the slope is. So that would be negative 2/3. Either way, whichever way you want to do it. Okay, number 11. The x-intercept's hard on this one, so let's just wait on that for a minute. But the y-intercept is 2. The slope is 1/3. So we can graph that pretty easily. So we go to 2, and we go up 1 and over 1, 2, 3, put a dot there, and then that would be our line. Okay, so start with there and then do the slope. Now you could maybe check to see what the y and x intercept is on the graph, but you can also find it by letting y equal 0. So if you let y equal 0, you get 1/3 x plus 2. You would subtract 2 to the other side, and then solving for x, you'd multiply both sides by 3. So x is negative 6. Now my graph's a little bit off. It should be over here more. So don't trust your graph if you don't have a straight edge. Okay, 12 and 13 are special lines. This is the graph of x equals 3. So we're going to go to 3 on our x-axis, and we're going to draw a vertical line straight up and down. And the x-intercept is 3. The y-intercept is, where is my line crossing this line? Well, guess what? They don't cross. So don't say 0. The answer would be none. And then the slope of this line straight up and down has no slope undefined, none, don't say 0 again. Okay, graph y equals -2. That's this line that goes straight across here. Where does that line touch the x-axis? Well, it doesn't, so that would be none. Where does it go through the y-axis? It goes through right at -2, and the slope is 0. All right, number 14, use data points to draw a scatter plot, sketch the graph, all that good stuff. We've done this so many times. Just remember to do stat edit, go to your graph, make sure your plots are turned on, and then go to stat calc number 4. So I'm not going to run through that with you. If you have any questions on that, you can always come in the morning and ask me for that. All right, and then finally the last part was 2,6 and 2,7. We took our parent functions and we shifted them. So you have 3 parent functions. You have y equals x, which is just a diagonal line. You have y equals x squared, which is a parabola or a U shape. And then you have y equals the absolute value of x, which is a V-shaped graph. Okay, that doesn't look like a V, but it is. All right, V-shape. So let's look at 15. When I have a number inside of my function, I'm going to shift the opposite direction. So this is a -4, so I'm going to go 4 to the right. So I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to go up 1 and over 1 because it was not distorted in any way. And here's my basic graph. And that's all you have to do. Now 16 has 2 shifts. It has a shift of 3 to the left and a shift of 1 down. So that's the vertex there. And so we're going to go up 1 and over 1 in each direction. And that would be the graph of that parabola. Okay, the next one, has 2 shifts again. So 2 to the right and 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I should be right there. That's my vertex. The vertex is at 2, 5. And then -3 tells me that I need to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1 in both directions to form my V shape. There it is. And I'll throw this in, but the axis of symmetry is x equals 2. I might ask for that on the test. Okay, over here, vertex. There's no shift left or right, but there is a shift of 3 down. So 1, 2, 3, that's where my vertex is. It's at the point 0, -3. 5 is my, slope in quotations. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1 in each direction. It makes it a really slanted, pretty skinny V shape. Okay, and finally the last one. Write the equation when y equals absolute value of x is shifted up 2 units and write 4. So up 2, write 4. So let's start with write 4. Write 4 is going to be x minus 4. And then up 2 would be plus 2. And that's it. There's no difference in the shape of it or anything like that. All right, well, my review in the morning's at 7:40, so you can come in, ask me questions on this or the other review that you have to do. All right, have a great day.